All right, guys, so we're going to get started here. And if you've taken any of my courses before, you know that I'm very hands-on, very project-based. So we don't spend too much time in slides and things like that. We just jump right into the code. So we're going to go ahead and create our Next.js application. We're going to use the create next app utility. So this is the nextjs.org website, and this is where you can find all the official documentation. And as I say with every course, I suggest that you use the documentation as a supplement to the course. So if you want to read more into something, you can always come and search the docs. That'll always be the most up-to-date information. All right, now on my desktop, you'll see I have this underscore theme files. So these are the HTML files that make up the UI. And throughout the course, I'll be taking some of the HTML from here, also the images, for instance. We have all the images, all the property images. That stuff is going to be in this folder, and you can get that from this section. I'll actually attach it to the section so you can download it, or you can just go to the final repo and it's included there as well, this underscore theme underscore files. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and let's jump into our terminal. Okay, so whether you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux, just open up your terminal and navigate to wherever you want to create this project folder. Mine's going to be in my home directory in a folder called dev. So we're going to run npx, and you do have to have Node.js installed to use npx, so make sure you do that. And then let's say create-next app, and we're going to do @latest. And then it should ask us some follow-up questions. So what is your project name? This is going to be the name of the folder. I'm going to call it property-pulse. And we're going to no to TypeScript. We'll say no to ESLint. Basically just the default values. Yes to Tailwind. And then I'm going to say no to using the source directory. If you want, you can wrap your main code in a source folder, but we're not going to do that. And then yes, we do want to use the app router. This is basically the newer way to write Next.js applications as opposed to the older pages directory. So we're going to say yes to that, and we're going to say no to the customizing the alias. All right, so now it's going to install the dependencies, which are basically just React, React DOM, Next, and then Tailwind and Tailwind's dependencies. All right, so everything was created. So now let's cd into the property pulse directory. And from here, you want to open your text editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code, so I can say code and then dot, and that will open it in the current folder. And I just got to bring it over here. All right, so even if you're not using VS Code, whatever you're using, whatever IDE or editor, just make sure you open the project so you have it in your editor. And now what we're going to do is run the dev server, and you can do this either from your default terminal, or if you're using VS Code or something like WebStorm where you have an integrated terminal, you can use that, which is what I'm going to do here. So in Visual Studio Code, you can do Command or Control tilde, and you can toggle it, or you can go to the menu and go to View and then Terminal. So let's run npm run dev. So that's going to go ahead and run the dev server, and by default, that's going to open on localhost 3000. So we can go ahead and click on that. And the first time you open it takes a couple seconds, but then you should see the landing page here. All right, so I'm just going to make that smaller, and let's make the editor smaller. All right, so we have our application set up and ready to go, but before we write any code, I just want to quickly go over some of the files and folders. The package.json is really simple in the Next application. I mean, basically we just have React and React DOM, and then Next, and then we have Tailwind. And if you don't use Tailwind, like if we said no, then it wouldn't have installed it. So very simple as far as dependencies go. The next config file, we're not going to have to do much here. Later on, when we implement Cloudinary, because that's what we're going to use for our property images, we do have to add the domain in here in order for it to work. But that's pretty much it. Other than that, there's not much we have to do here. Most of our code is going to go in this app folder. Now, if you've used Next.js 12 or anything under 13, then you had to use a pages folder. And in that pages folder, you could use file-based routing. So you could put like an about.js page or about.jsx, and that would then correspond to /about on your website. Well, the app folder is very similar, but it's a little more powerful, and I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to get into file-based routing as we move along. Right now, we just have basically two pages. We have a layout, which wraps around everything. So any page, any component we're viewing, this layout is wrapped around it, and you can see the HTML and body tags. We're actually going to get rid of all this, so don't worry about the code that's here right now. And then the page.js is actually the home page that we're looking at. So you can see this HTML is what we're seeing here. Now what we're going to do is just completely delete the app folder. So I'm going to come over here and just delete it, and obviously it's going to break our application, which is fine, because I want to recreate it, because that will show you basically how to start from scratch and understand the structure of the files and so on, which isn't too bad at all. So in the next video, we'll recreate that app folder, we'll recreate our layout, and we'll also recreate the home page.